Giving a child proprietary rights, so to speak, of the dream is an important part of child development and maturity.
Welcome to Talking About Kids. I am your host, R. Bradley Snyder, researcher, activist, and author of The 5 Simple Truths of Raising Kids. Stanley Krippner has received multiple Lifetime Achievement Awards from the American Psychological Association, including the Award for Distinguished Contributions to the International Advancement of Psychology and the Award for Distinguished Lifetime Contributions to Humanistic Psychology. He is the subject of an edited volume entitled Stanley Krippner, A Life of Dreams, Myths, and Visions, and his own 3-volume memoir entitled A Chaotic Life came out just this year. At 92, Stan continues to write, lecture, and conduct research. I recently had the opportunity to talk with Stan about helping kids process dreams. The interview took place in my living room, where he is better known by my wife and daughter as Uncle Stanley. This episode is sponsored in part by the Arizona Department of Health Services Must Stop Bullying campaign through its Title V Maternal and Child Health Program. For more information, go to muststopbullying.org. Talking About Kids is designed to help parents and teachers and other professionals help kids. If you enjoy this episode, please give it a positive review and consider sharing it with your friends and colleagues. And now, the interview.
My interest goes back to my childhood. I remembered my dreams, and I was interested in the topic, and I started to read some of the popular literature on dreams. And then when I came to the University of Wisconsin, only one lecture on dreams in our psychology class, and that was a comment. People that dream in color are psychotic. My friends and I looked at each other. We knew that we were not psychotic, and there was really no excuse for that. This was 1953. And in 1950, the University of Chicago did a study in which they awakened people who were asleep with their electroencephalographic recording showed rapid eye movements. When the rapid eye movements came up, they reported a dream. So eventually, I kept up my interest, and I was invited to participate in a study of dream telepathy at Maimonides Medical Center, and I directed a laboratory in which we would have volunteers come in for the night, have the electrodes attached to their heads, and when they showed rapid eye movements, we awakened them. Now, in the meantime, somebody in a distant building was focusing on a target picture. And more often than not, the dreams were about that target picture. When somebody had a dream of a boxing match, the target picture was Saul Bellows' painting of a boxing match. I did that for 50 years. I did that for 10 years, and 50 years later, there was a review of all of the dream telepathy research done, indicating that it had been repeated at significant levels above the laws of chance. So we wrote a book, monograph, several articles, and my interest continues to this day. But I've also been interested In other types of dreams, as Maimonides, we also studied the dreams of pregnant women. We studied the dreams of transgender people. All of those are published also.
So, in layman's terms, what do psychologists think dreams are? What's the purpose of dreams, and what are they?
There are various opinions, but in my opinion, dreams are essential for a person's well-being because they tend to help people remember important things they've learned during the day and forget things that they have not learned or things that are unimportant. And also dreams help to process emotions. There's a lot of emotion in a dream, and this is sort of the residue of a person's daily experience, and dreams help that feeling, that emotion, that mood to get through the system, so to speak, and dreams have a unique propensity to do that. So I think that dreams were important in human evolution, and dreams are important to this day. Again, there are various opinions, but that's my basic opinion.
You know, it's interesting because when you look at like fiction and fantasy in particular, a lot is written about children dreaming, but there's less science on children dreaming. Do dreams have the same function for children?
Actually, they do. There's rapid eye movement sleep in the fetus, by the way. And there's rapid eye movement sleep in infants. So a lot of processing is going on. I mean, in infants, it's getting a lot of sensory information from the external world. And all of that gets processed through the system. Once children are able to report their dreams, they report not very involved dreams, not very colorful dreams, but they report feelings and moods, and that again is the result of the processing. I think what we really need to realize is that dreaming is thinking and feeling in a different state of consciousness, a different neurochemical state. So of course the imagery in the narrative is going to be different than what it is in the daily state. I think that dreams have the function of condensing a lot of material in symbolic form. And when children have dreams about monsters, which they often do, this is often a symbol of the unknown of the external world, the powerful figures like their parents in the external world, the feelings that are developing that they don't know quite how to cope with. All of that gets processed in dreams, and so dreams are very, very helpful. It's not so much what we dream that's important, but the fact that we dream at all, because this is so important for emotional regulation, and with children as well.
Well, given the importance of dreams to children, and we know obviously that nightmares are something that parents hear a lot about. If their child is having a nightmare, they might be alerted right then. The child might come in or cry or call for their attention. How do you recommend parents or even other adults that work with children, how do you recommend they talk to children about their dreams?
I think the most important thing to realize is that the parents and specialists know the difference between dreams and night terrors. Children often wake up in the middle of the night screaming, terrified, and parents think this is a dream or a nightmare. Usually not. During periods of rapid development, night terrors are very, very common. I know cases where parents have actually taken children with night terrors to psychiatrists, spent a lot of money, Now, night terrors eventually disappear. So eventually the night terrors disappear and the psychiatrist takes the credit for it. If there is no recall of imageries or plot, it's probably a night terror. And night terrors, disappear as a child matures. Now, nightmares are somewhat a different thing, and children can be taught not to be alarmed by the nightmares, the scary dreams. This is a way that their brain is working to help process emotions and feelings so they'll be able to function better the next day. Now, chronic nightmares, of course, are a cause for concern, and then a specialist might be able to help out. But occasional nightmares are not that frightening, not that alarming, because, again, it's a way of working feelings through the system. Now, when children report ordinary dreams to their parents, I think the best thing the parent can do is to simply listen and acknowledge the interest and encourage children to remember dreams and maybe even to make a story about them or draw a picture about them. And that helps the child to connect their inner life with their outer life. And of course, parents do not have the skill or the ability to interpret the dream, but the parent might often do something like this. Might talk to the child, well, if this were my dream, this is what it might mean. And that encourages the child to report other dreams because the dreams are being taken seriously. I think the worst thing the parent can say is, well, that's just a dream. That negates the child's experience. I think the child's experience should be honored. Patricia Garfield wrote a wonderful book a few years ago, Your Child's Dreams. Very helpful book about helping parents work with a child's dreams. Patricia was a founding member of the International Association for the Study of Dreams. Membership is open to anybody, and they have a lot of basic information for parents who want to help their children cope with dreams and even with nightmares.
Another technique that I know you use when you're helping adults with their dreams is to guide the adult to try to connect emotions from a particular dream with other instances where they had similar emotions. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. If there's a common theme with the nightmares, then some cleanup can certainly be attempted. And again, the important thing here is to honor the child's experience and to listen carefully. And if, for example, a child has several dreams about being caught in a flood, the parents can work with those flood dreams and say, well, maybe this is connected to the floods that are being reported all too often in the environmental crisis. Or maybe the flood is sort of a symbol of the flood of experiences that you're having. And just common sense connections like that can be very helpful in enabling the child to cope with inner experience.
I think that's so important, and it echoes so many other experiences that children have where the best thing to do is to not try to solve the problem for the child, but to ask the child what they think is going on, what they think should be done. There's kind of a double benefit of that. It gives the child more control over what's happening to them, but it also gives them a little bit of autonomy and a sense of, I guess, mastery as well, when you honor them and let them be a part of the solution.
Well, you're absolutely right. Children have experiences, and at some point, they need to exert some sort of sense of mastery of that experience, what psychologists call agency. And one way to do that is to help the child come up with their own interpretation of a dream. As I said before, a parent might say, well, this is my dream, this is what it would mean, and then might say, but this is your dream, what do you think it means? And again, that gives the child some sense of control, some sense of coping with inner experience, which is so important for children.
Too often the fantasy life of children, of adults even, is dismissed as, a waste of time, something not to be pursued. But we know that this is an opportunity for people to solve real world problems, as you mentioned, but it also gives them a different perspective on who they are, an understanding of who they are as an individual, correct?
Oh, good heavens, you put it very, very well. And as I said earlier, the child is simply reporting a dream. The best thing a parent can do is to listen, and then to take a step further, the child might be encouraged to, if they're able to write a story about the dream, or even do a simple drawing about the dream, and this externalizes that inner experience.
What's also nice, and this is something that I've even had to remind myself, is that whatever happened in the dream, that is yours. It belongs to you. So that fantastic creation that you made in the dream, or that revelation that somebody had in the dream, or the incredible thing that somebody said in a dream, that's all coming from within you. You that belongs to you. Is that something that children need to understand as well?
I think children need to understand that as well, that they actually own that experience. It's not something that a parent or an authority figure is forcing upon them. They have propriety over that, and then they can even decide whether or not even to report the dream, because they own that. That is their experience, and they can deal with that in their own manner and their own way. That might involve dream sharing, or sometimes it might not. But giving a child proprietary rights, so to speak, of the dream is an important part of child development and maturity.
I know you have many stories of incredible things that started with a dream. Can you share just one of your experiences of something incredible that you know, either from somebody that you met or somebody that you worked with, something incredible that happened in the real world that started with a dream?
Well, good heavens, there are many important historical experiences. High school students all know about the periodic table of the elements, but they don't know that Dmitri Mendeleev had a dream that created that table. All of the elements fell into place on a table, and that's why this is called the periodic table of the elements, because it all came from a dream, and then, of course, one by one, new elements were added. Artwork, of course, often originated in a dream, and to give a technological example, Elias Howe had been working on a sewing machine without success, and he had a dream in which he was captured by some savages, and the savages were throwing spears at him, and he noticed that the hole was in the tip of the spear. He thought, my God, this is my solution. He woke up, he went to his laboratory, put the hole in the tip of the needle rather than the end of the needle, put it in the sewing machine, and the lock-stitch sewing machine was born, and this revolutionized the textile industry and was an important part in the whole industrial revolution. So there are many, many historical examples of dreams as well as personal examples of dreams. Sometimes a person will have a dream about a physical issue or problem that prompts them to go to a medical exam, and it will save their life because they dreamed about a problem that they didn't even know they had. So dreams are not only important on the basic personal level, the dreams we have every single night, but also they can take on much more, shall we say, classic and even life-saving, even historical changing elements in dimensions.
Well, I want to thank you so much. I know that this is just a short overview on children and dreams, but I want to thank you so much, not only for taking the time to talk to me, but for your decades of work helping people live better lives.
Oh, thank you. I hope you're right, and dreams can certainly enrich people's lives.
That was Stanley Krippner. More information about Stan and his new 3-volume memoir is at talkingaboutkids.com. And when you do visit talkingaboutkids.com, please let me know what you think about the podcast. Talking About Kids theme song is by the Senators. For more of their music, go to thesenatorsmusic.com. And remember, kids are young goats and young humans, and the difference is that young goats are easier to manage.